This show is sponsored by Horizon HVAC, who you can count on for all of your heating and cooling needs. Also by CES Construction, who specializes in bathroom and kitchen remodels. Here we are, episode 8, Mindset Radio Podcast. We're sitting in studio with Sheena, and our guest today is Marc Mason. Marc Mason owns RCL Mechanical and also EastSide Property out of Massachusetts. Marc, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Thanks for the intro.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. First and foremost, I start off every podcast with asking the same thing. What is your definition and thoughts on mindset?
Well, mindset, huh? I think it forever evolves. It's something that you have to consistently work on with yourself. Like where you were last week, a year back, 5 years ago is different than where you are today. So I feel like it forever evolves. And I feel like you have to keep up with that. You have to get coaching and mentoring to make sure that your mindset's where you're at in the business and different break points in your life, personal life and business. So I feel like it's a forever evolving situation with your mindset, you know, and it's just, I don't think you're ever going to get to the place that you want to be.
Yeah. That's the race. Like a lot of people say, like the best part about entrepreneurship and building is like the climb. Is to climb up and finding those mentors, finding those relationships. Like I can't tell you how excited I get sometimes when I meet somebody and I'm like, man, that we're going to have a great relationship. Like I can just tell that we're going to do something together. I don't know what, but something is going to happen. And when you develop those relationships and you both have that mindset, it's like, you know, you kind of join that team where you're like, all right, let's make something happen.
Let's win. Yeah. I feel like people, when you're in business and you're in entrepreneurship, and you're kind of at that level and going to those heights, it's tough to find people that can relate to you without boring out your friends and everybody else that's around you, you know? Yeah. It's tough. So like when you find people in the same circle, it's nice. You have someone to bitch to, you have someone to ask questions to, and without being like, really, Mark? You're just all about money. It's like, no, there's something bigger here. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's so funny that you say that because we were at Thanksgiving dinner with my family. And I felt like the whole time I was just talking about business. And I'm talking and I'm like, why aren't they why aren't they as curious as I am? Like I'm talking about like deals that I'm closing and this went this. And they're just like, all right, Mike. And I could feel that vibe of them being like, dude, just shut up. Like we get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe not shut up, but they just, when they're not on that specific time of their life, maybe they're doing something else and they're concentrating on something else. I totally understand what you're saying. And when you do find that person, it's like, all right, cool, man. Like, it's always a phone call away. Like I'm like that with everybody I meet with this kind of stuff. It's I love just talking shop. It's fun. It's exciting to me.
I agree.
You know?
That's just where we're at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How did you start? Like what was your journey? What did you do right out of high school?
So I went to vocational high school for plumbing. I graduated in 2009. That's when like everything was wrapping up on the way of wrapping up with the recession back then. And I got out of high school. Found my first job at Taunton High School. I joined a company that they had residency there, so it was a state job. So I popped out of high school making $30 an hour. Wow. I worked there for like back in 2009. Yeah, big money.
Big money then.
A licensed plumber back then was making like $22 an hour.
So you got right into plumbing.
Right into plumbing, right out of the gate. I did co-op, so I double dipped on my plumbing hours because I did co-op in school. Got out, so I was the first licensed plumber out of Bristol, Plymouth.
Explain what co-op is.
Co-op is essentially a program in vocational school where every other week you're out on the job training. You get hired by a company like CES Construction or RCL Mechanical. You go out and they work under you, and it counts to their school hours. So I essentially use those hours.
So it's an apprenticeship, basically.
Apprenticeship, yeah. I use those hours to get my license. So I was the first licensed plumber and master plumber out of Bristol, Plymouth.
Really?
Which is a pretty cool thing.
Out of Bristol, Plymouth School?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In Taunton.
Yeah.
And then I just started. That's where I started, man. And I just grinded out. I just found a real niche into loving money and loving the grind. So at that age, you know, you go in, you get money. You're the guy, you're the friend at the bar that has the extra money and this and that. I partied my ass off. I worked my ass off. Yeah. And 2014, I got the itch for real estate. And I went, it's a funny story. I was hearing on the radio, I used to do rehabs for, Brownstone, and Chris Coit over in Taunton.
Yep.
And I was his plumber, you know.
Is that a property management group?
They did a lot of rehabs back then.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm like, I really like to get into this, you know? So I heard on the radio about fortune builders in Providence, Rhode Island. It's like, oh, it's a free radio course, you know? And you go there for 2 days, it's free. And they ultimately try to sell you on a they try to sell you on like an education. You know, hey, I pay $30,000, we'll teach you for 6 months.
Right.
I opted out of that, did my own research, got on bigger pockets, and I bought my first I bought my first buy and hold 3-family for $178,000 in
Did you use
2014.
a hard money lender?
I ended up using a traditional bank that backed out on me 2 weeks before closing. Found a new bank. They recommended me to because we had a relationship, and they closed me in 2 weeks, which is pretty unheard of because we had a high risk loan because we bought it off Hubzoo.com. It was an auction. So before I bought it, I had to go in there. I jumped out the water meter, turned on the electrical, patched all the holes, made it FHA financeable, and the appraiser came in.
How did you
got
know
it.
to do that stuff?
I just did a bunch of research. I had all my friends in it. It
So
was a
all
great time.
self-taught?
Self-taught. Had all my friends go in there. We patched holes. We just got it presentable. Put some ceiling tiles in, fixed some doors, boom, closed on it. And to me and Sarah to this day, she's a lender. And she's like, I never knew, because now I've given her like over 50 deals myself. And on top of, I referred all my friends to her. So she's probably got over 100 deals from me. She's like, I never knew 10 years ago
That's
that
I
I
love
was
hearing
going to be in this position
That's
because of helping you out. So it was pretty cool.
Explain to somebody the average person who is interested in getting into real estate right now, and say they're in a position how you were back then in 09 or 2010, you know, basic credit, maybe medium credit, mid sixes, basic income, 100,000, maybe 80,000. What is stopping people from doing the things that you do with flips?
So I think we all have to be real now. I think there was a lot more inventory back then than there is now.
Yeah.
So it's harder to find deals right now. So you have to just.
Are the banks closing? Are the banks not approving everybody right now as much as they were?
So
back
I don't
in,
think. I think it's less a bank issue. I think it's more an inventory issue. And I think now that maybe it took your average person getting into real estate back then 4 months to get into a deal, to find their first deal. Maybe it takes them I'd probably say it's double that now, 8 months. And for an average human being that's trying to get into real estate, you're probably getting your head kicked in quite a bit for 8 months trying to find that deal. I think the average right now is about 8 months to find a deal. So to find your first deal is about 8 months. So think about that in perspective. If you're making 80 grand a year, you're working a full-time job, you're doing it from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, weekends, that's a long time to wait. So I think right now there's an inventory issue. But if you're asking me how to get into it, I think it's gonna come down to like anything really. It's gonna be consistency,
just getting your feet wet, just
and
jumping
getting
in.
disciplined, and making those uncomfortable calls to people like myself or you or somebody that you know that is in that position, right?
That's already doing it.
Somehow you have to get yourself in a position to add value to somebody. In my instance, think about it. I didn't even know I was doing it at that age. I was in a position where I was someone's plumber, and I was watching them. I was smart enough to watch what they did every step to figure out what they did and what their process was on how to make money on a deal and the process. So essentially, I was learning through him, and I didn't even realize that. And actually, that just came out now, and I didn't even realize that until today. That was my value right there. Like, he was adding value to me. I wasn't making a ton of money on the deals because you know how it is. It's like you're pinching pennies at that. When you're doing things at that level, every dollar counts because the rehabs are just you got very minimal profit margins. So snake yourself into a place that you can be in a position to give someone else value to make sure that you get to the place that you want to be.
And forget about instant gratification.
That's the hardest part.
That's
these
the hard
days.
part. Because I mean, I do it myself. I've gotten a lot better with it, and like kind of looking at the long term value of things instead of like the immediate because I've found over the years like that quick money is never good money that stays around much long. It's always going somewhere else really quick. Or it's just like that money where you can like kind of invest your time into and then come out on the other side with a nice check. It always seems like to be the better type of income to earn. But you said something so you went to school, you did plumbing right away. Did you enjoy plumbing? Like, did you enjoy it as soon as you got out of school? You said you were making a bunch of money right out of school. Like, did you like the work that you were doing?
I did. I feel like I thoroughly just like challenges.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if it's not challenging to me anymore, I'm not interested, and that was a challenge to me, figuring it out. But I feel like thinking about it right now, I do feel like it's who you surround yourself by. I was around good guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I remember thinking back then, I remember being around great guys to work with. And I remember the guys that back then, when you were in an apprenticeship, people used to like hammer you. Like they used to beat on apprentices. Remember that back in the
Oh,
day?
yeah.
Like now it's different. Everybody's kind of soft. Everybody has failings. You know what
No,
I mean?
for
It's
sure.
different. It's
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
nowadays. Everybody gets treated like gold.
What do you
But
think?
back
What do you
then,
think's the better way?
I think you're seeing it. I think you're seeing the end result now where people are entitled. The biggest problem I have right now in my companies is entitlement.
Mm,
And I think it starts with like I grew up in a spot, even going through high school, where it's like there's a little bit of tough love there. It's like,
yeah.
hey, like you're not perfect, Mark. You got stuff to work on. And I feel like you don't see that as much. It's like, hey, you're doing great. Here's a trophy too. You know what I mean? You came in second place. You came in third place, fourth place. But in reality, you don't get in life, you don't get trophies for being in fourth, fifth place. Like you're not gonna win. Like if you're in fourth place on a bidding a house, or if
Yeah.
I'm in fourth place bidding a promo job,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna win. But they're getting trophies for that.
When
In
did that
school.
saying start? Because that saying is the worst thing that's ever happened. I never had anybody when I was younger to be like, this is this and this is that. But I knew that that second place is not first place. That you gotta win,
Yeah.
man. You gotta win. If you're closing a deal, second place is not as good as first place. And that mindset right there, going back to mindset, that mindset right there is gonna set you up for failure or just mediocrity at the best. You know what I mean? You're never going to be able to grow as a person if you're looking at like, well, I did it good enough. Because coming in second place, third place, that's just doing it good enough. You know what I mean? Like you have to strive for that first place, and I think that's why we're in the positions that we're in. Oh, we own successful businesses. We're always on the go. We're always busy. We're always helping other people out because we strive for that, like that number one spot. I do. I want to be the best in everything that I do. In fact, I want to be the best so bad in everything that I do that I won't even do it if I feel that I'm not ready for it yet. And that's something that, everybody, should kind of go about doing.
Yeah, I feel like that comes with time too and
It
experience.
does, man, for sure. Because
You
this
know
is
what I mean?
new, man. Like,
Yeah.
trust me when I say this. I'm 37 years old, and I'm just starting to learn these
Yeah.
lessons, very recently. Because before, man, it was just kind of, in the moment, get it done now, just, move on to the next thing.
100%.
When did you start looking into the future? When did you start thinking more long term instead of, just getting it done quick?
I'd say like 2020. And not too long ago, really. I
How
felt
old
like
are you?
I'm 33.
33.
33. Just turned 33 last week. And I think that what changed, I feel like, is a level of experience, really. I feel like you need to go through some life experience to really figure out what you want.
Yeah.
I remember just having my head down a lot. And I think that's just the way I did it. Some other people can do it differently. But I think I just was so head down, and when I picked my head up, I didn't even give myself gratification of like where I was at. I just started learning gratification and being like, you know what, Mark, you kicked ass today. That's like, we're talking months. Like, I just started realizing that because I'm at a different chapter in my life where it's like, all right, Mark, you have a family now, you have a kid now. Let's slow down a bit, because I was at a point in business where going fast and checking the box got me to break point one, and then break point two was a different milestone. Break point 3, 4, and now it's like when I hit this $15 million mark in business, it's like now it's a different break point. It's leadership looks different than being at a $1 million company. Communication looks different than being at a $1 million company. When I say that is I work with speed. I think I'm at the point in business where I got to slow down a little bit and work at a different speed so I can make sure everybody else catches up and I lead properly. Because right now I'm at a break point in the company where I need to build leaders. And I love doing that, but some people are not rising as quick as I want them to rise. And I think I just need to communicate better. I used to send emails so fast back in the day that I'd have spelling errors in this, and I just knew they get my point across. Boom, I'm on to the next. I could touch things and just be successful at it just because I knew 30, 60, 80% done was better than not getting done. And I would worry about it on the back end. But now it's totally different. I got to make sure I'm cautious on how I communicate with people because they take it so literal because my status of where I'm at in life. It kind of sounds crazy.
No, it doesn't.
But
you're explaining it very well.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because
But
I'm
it
not,
also
granted, that's
makes-
my weak point.
And it makes sense too that you're not finding people that can catch up with your speed, because I know Michael finds the same thing. He's like, I wish I could just find another me. But that's what sets you guys apart from the majority, like 85-90% of people, is you guys are different. So you have to be the leaders for longer before you can start finding people that have that same kind of hunger, which is, it's exciting, but you do have to slow down because others are not there.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
100%.
Talk about that frustration when you find somebody that's like worthy to invest time in, and they're just not getting it like you want.
You know, I just think that the big thing with me is I'm a person that's like, you can do it. Like if I did it, you can do it. And I've tried to pull so many people with me, and just some people just don't have it. I lead everybody to the water, and then some people just can't drink it. And I think I'm just at a point that's like, I know when to let go now. You know I don't really hire a lot of people I know anymore. As in the beginning, I hired a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I think that's just, you have to know your limits.
Yeah. So, it's interesting you say that. Like, you can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink it. And we've had situations where we've brought people on board, and it's like you try to tell them, like, listen, if we work together, and you take these tools that I'm giving you, and you do the research on your own, and you learn, you self-teach yourself, it's not just us that are building the company. And a lot of people really, I feel like they don't understand that sometimes, that it's a team effort. Like it's, there's a reason why a lot of these greats, the quarterbacks like Tom Brady and George, they all took pay cuts in order to get better people on the field, because, that team effort can build a company can make or break a company.
100%.
You know what I mean? Talk about when you first started hiring guys, what the process was. When did you start your business, first of all?
So there's a lot of answers to all those questions.
Let's start with when did you start?
So I started RCL Mechanical in August of 2020. I think we just broke 99 employees.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Good for you, man.
crazy.
I didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just looked up one day. I'm like, holy shit.
Now,
Crazy.
what's that process? Like, what's that process from the first employee all the way to 99?
So I think it looks different. I think I keep going back to these break points of the company, and we can maybe have a whole other podcast on that. But I think that, to go back to what we were talking about earlier a little bit, it's like when we had 5 to 10 people going out drinking with your employees and having fun like that was acceptable. Now it's not acceptable. So that's one of the things that, like we were talking about earlier, that sometimes you just got to break there and just be like, hey, this is, because now they're looking up to you at a whole new aspect. There's a whole new responsibility when you have $120,000 in payroll a week. So I think that to circle back to your question, what was it again?
Like, what was what was it like building from your first employees to 99? Did you ever think you would have 99 employees?
Never.
Like, when you started this, what was the goal?
The goal was due to 20 million. So like, hey, we want to be the biggest. We had a revenue goal. And now now what I've learned in business is like, I want to operate off net profit. But back then it's like, all right, we want to get to 20 million. We want to be the biggest plumbing and HVAC contractor in Southeastern Massachusetts. We want to get so big but we don't want to get too big that we lose the family feel of the company.
Yeah.
And we want to keep that culture. And that's why we're so heavy on culture. And we're probably at that point now.
That's what Gem just did. Gem just sold to a monster company, and they are losing a ton of business right now because they lost that family business.
We can go into that. That's
we
have a little background on that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So to answer that, that's kind of I think that and also I think that we hit it. Timing definitely comes into play with all this stuff. Like I got into real estate at the right time. All of my mistakes got absorbed with the market.
Yeah.
Now we started RCL Mechanical in 2020, and what happened? I figured out a way to find good talent when nobody else could.
Dude, this is the hardest part.
And how I did it, it was social media.
Yeah.
So I built my whole company. Now we're changing. So if you look at our social media from 2020 to now, to about 6-8 months ago, it was very heavy based on like us saying, hey, Mike, you work for RCL Mechanical. How do you like it? What's going on? And that attracted everybody to the company. Now flip it. Now we're trying to boost sales, and now we're almost got some call to actions in there. We're doing some different stuff.
So you switched up your social media marketing?
Yep.
So I want to tell you something. When I first connected with you, it was on Indeed. I just had signed up to Indeed. We had just started. I think we had just started Horizon. It might have been a little bit before that. I believe it was. because I found out you were an HVAC guy a little bit later when we already had Horizon. But I was very motivated and inspired by your posts. Like your posts had a huge impact on what I started doing. I saw how you were editing. I saw how you were putting captions behind your stuff. I saw your whole process of your marketing scheme. And your marketing scheme was brilliant because it was hitting so many different points. Your Instagram was hitting like what your business was about. It told a story about what your business was about. You knew very clearly that you were doing HVAC. You knew very clearly that you were plumbing, and you could see that family environment. Like I saw the meetings that you guys were having in the boardroom. I saw this, I saw that, and I'm like, dude, I want to do that. So I think I reached out to you on Indeed. Did I? Was it Indeed?
LinkedIn.
It was LinkedIn. That's right. Why Indeed? It was LinkedIn. And I believe I said, dude, I love what you're doing. Hopefully one day we can link up. And that's the power of social media, man. It's like that stuff, when you see that kind of stuff and you're able just to reach out to someone that you're admiring and you're looking at like, man, this guy's doing what I want to do. It's crazy, man. But I want to give, kudos to you, because what you were doing definitely inspired me to start with a different type of content. And I flipped a lot of my marketing based on the stuff that you were doing.
Yeah, I watch your marketing too. Like just the videos, the eating, and you guys working out. That's just giving people a vision of like who you guys really are.
And that's why we're doing it. All of this isn't for money. This isn't for this is, first of all, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy networking. I enjoy meeting people like you, but this is for the overall business of, listen, we are a family owned business. We want to, customer service is number one. We want you guys to be able to dive into our lives a little bit, to trust us with whatever it is that you would like done. It's that whole networking thing.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing all this. That's why we do the Instagram, the working out, because not for validation, not for validation, but for just for the overall networking purpose. Like you never know who you're going to meet, man, and who
you don't,
like where it's going to go. Like we've gotten some pretty cool messages from people we would have never thought that are like super supportive and saying, keep going. And I've lost 50 pounds because of you. And I've started this business because of you. And this and that.
That feels good.
Dude, that's the best, man.
That does feel
that's
good.
The best.
To circle back to the beginning of this episode for everybody. So we were talking about in the beginning of the episode about how like you get in front of the right people. And that's a perfect example. So Mike reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he's like, he was probably thinking like, who knows? Maybe he won't see it. I went to spam. Who knows? But here you go. You mark 4 or 5 months later. He was just starting Horizon, getting into Horizon, and he's probably learned some stuff on my content. I'm looking at his diet procedures now and what he's eating. I'm like, motivates me a little bit. And so like now we're sitting down having a podcast. So now we get that face to face. We met virtually. Right. And then we talked on the phone a couple times. I know he's helped me in Mass. I've helped him in Rhode Island. Oh, actually vice versa.
Yep.
And now we're at a podcast room. So it's like now there's a new friendship made.
Yeah.
And I came here to meet you, and I met your wife. So then there's two new people that are now in the network. So just that's kind of powerful in itself.
That's network.
Powerful.
That's the best kind of networking.
You know what I'm saying?
Like this, like we're sitting down with a chiropractor next week, the Combat Chiro. He's getting pretty big on Instagram. I don't know how the episode's going to go, but it's going to be another person in the network that's like-minded like us, that has the same type of drive, authenticity, which is huge for me. I can tell, who's authentic and who's not just right away, just by sitting down with them for 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to like the business that we're going to do in the future, man, because I have a feeling we're going to end up doing something.
Absolutely.
I can feel it when I get with certain people. So I want to dig into your business a little bit more. So what did you start with first, HVAC or plumbing? Like when you started RCL, was it both?
I come from a hard plumbing background, so it's plumbing.
So what made you go into just hand in hand?
No, not hand in hand. I just knew I had to break into HVAC in order to create more revenue and to drive profits.
Dude.
The money in HVAC is a lot more than plumbing, and there's way less labor.
Yeah.
Plumbing's very labor intensive, as an HVAC's very equipment heavy.
Yeah, well, like weight.
And my background, when I worked for Sagamore for like 10 years, and I've one of the things that we've mastered there is just being able to negotiate with your vendors and suppliers on better material and rates, So I'm just good at buying equipment and making those relationships with the vendors and making sure I get the right marketing dollars and all that good stuff.
Okay, so what we're doing right now is like if somebody gets like a 2-zone ductless split, we're usually just going to the supply house and buying it right there and then going to install it. Do you buy them do you stock like inventory, and are you a distributor for some of these companies?
So what are your payment terms?
Just cash right now.
Yeah. So like some suppliers, I have 60-day payment terms, and at the end of the year, they give me 5% cash back
Wow.
on top of I probably spend maybe 20% less than you on all my equipment, you know? And that's just because I've spent time, and when you do volume with the same supply house, you got to know who to get in bed with, but we can have an offline conversation about it so I can help you on that aspect. But overall, I think that you just have to leverage your relationships and get in front of the people, get in front of the salesman. But if you're buying any equipment on at counter sales, you're losing money.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
So
you don't have to stock all the equipment in a warehouse, but you're losing money because
because you don't have an account.
you don't have an account. Number one, you can have an account and still pay the list price, but you haven't negotiated anything. It's all a negotiation.
When did you learn that? How did you learn that? Just through the years?
You know, I just through the years of working at my
With other
last
companies,
company,
yeah.
you know, and we used to do a lot of negotiation with like York Direct, Train Direct. So
Yeah.
like if I'm buying on a commercial job, I'm not going to like Web for York. I'm going to York itself for
Yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah.
So I'm directly with their sales reps. So you number one, because it's gonna go from the manufacturer to Web. Web's gonna put their markup on it and go
Got you.
versus going straight.
Yeah.
But I think you need to have a type of you need to have some volume. You got to work up to there.
Yeah.
You got to be able to sell yourself and the company and the vision to the sales team,
Yeah.
so he can sell it to his team.
When did you start doing that? Like, how many years in of RCL did you start doing that?
Right away, I pulled a
you?
lot of my relationships. Not everybody didn't take me seriously. Like hey, I'm starting my own business. This is where I'm gonna be, you know. And it's like yeah. I will never forget it. You know, I remember making a call to someone at the Portland group, and I'm like, this is my plan. And you know, I never heard from him. You know, and then when he seen what I was doing for business, he's like, holy shit. He's like, I'm like, yeah, sorry. You know,
You missed the
you're a
train.
mile down the road, but you know,
Wow.
unfortunately, we go 5 miles away to Web to come back to the shop.
What's
you know?
RCL stand for?
That's actually what my partner's initials. So we had Mason Plumbing and Heating, which I operated from 2016 till 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That I had that on the side while I was working at Sagamore. I had about between 2 and 4 guys at every given moment. I used to actually go and lay all the jobs at night, and then they used to go during the day and do the work. And then he had a couple guys, and he left. I got him a job at Sagamore. He worked with me for a little while in estimating, and then he left, started his own business in 2017, I believe, which was RCL. And we always used to bounce things off each other, like, hey, like these are the issues I'm having, like what's going on. He's like, I don't know what to do, Mark. I can't find this, blah blah blah. So we all had the same issue. So it was like 2019. I'm like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go into real estate full time. I'm gonna build a badass plumbing company, Rich. You know, you interested? Should we do this together? And he's like, let me get back to you. You know, a much more in depth conversation. But he came back to me and said, you know, I'd rather be a 50% owner of a $20 million company than 100% owner than a $2 million company.
You say that all the time.
And he's like, I'm like, all right, let's do this. So we got in 2020. We started the company in September of 2020. We did rough numbers. The first 4 months of the year, we did the last 4 months of the year, we did $360,000 in revenue. The second year,
Total revenue? Is that
Yeah.
profit?
revenue.
Total revenue.
Yeah. The second year, 2021, I think we were at 3.7.
Big
Third
jump.
year,
Big
we're
jump.
at 9.8. Last year, we finished at 14.
Do you think you could have done it without a partner?
I don't think it would have been as fun.
Yeah.
Like, we have a very good partnership where it's like, we stay in each other's lanes. So we definitely have different strengths and weaknesses. I'm a systems guy, and, and he lets me stay in that lane, and he does his thing. So I think it would have been a lot less fun building it alone.
Yeah, it is fun having a partner and
just
bouncing
different.
off. It is different.
You know what I mean? You just got to make sure you pick the right one because
Yeah,
it can be a
dude.
disaster.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine right now trying to like split the company and this and that and figuring out who goes where.
Yeah.
So I think that it's all about, it's like a relationship, sacrifices, right? It's
I'm
like,
sure you've had your ups and downs and
Yeah. Luckily, we haven't had as much, but I would say the biggest up and down we had was going through that union stuff
yeah,
because
talk
that was
about
very
that.
emotional
yeah.
and it was.
So what exactly happened? So you guys do non-union work.
Yeah, so we're a non-union merit company where, you know, what I think did it was social media. But what happened was, to give you guys a long story short here is, I think the union wanted a piece of it.
Of your company?
Yeah, I think we're growing so fast and we're making a very big impact. And I think the last straw was when we got top place to work in Boston for the Boston Globe in
Saw that.
2023, December. And
That was incredible.
it was almost like, I think they took it as a smack in the face.
Wow.
That was one of our goals on our painted vision. We kind of set out our painted vision in 2020, 2021 of like, hey, this is where we want to be in 3 years. And that was one of the goals we hit. We hit it. And they did not like that because Boston, non-union, never mind. And we're all over the joint. Like, you can't go anywhere on social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook without seeing our stuff.
Why do you think unions have such a big problem with non-union companies? I know it's an easy answer because obviously they want more business for themselves. But do you think that's like
absolutely not American?
It's ridiculous.
What we went through, 99% of the people would have folded. Number one. Number two, it was emotionally just.
What kind of pressure were they putting on you? What were they doing?
I mean, put it this way: we got petition. So they sent someone in the company as assault to come in and blow the company within. I relate it to the election that happened. Because what happened was they split the country, right? Black versus white. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what happened. They said, someone came in, started running
someone
them up.
Hired?
Someone we hired. We actually let them go. They went somewhere else. They went to the union hall, tried to get in the union. They said, the only way you're coming in is if you go to RCL and you turn them to go union.
A mole.
So we came in. And
did you end up finding this out for sure? Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. We did some digging. We're aggressive, and they weren't ready for it. They were not ready for it because I would have died on a sword. So they came in. What they said is like they stood up at a company meeting, made a huge deal about office versus field, how we're just a social media company that does a little bit of plumbing, and how we are always focusing on the office on social media, not the field. We don't respect the field, all this good stuff.
Wow.
And meanwhile, that's absolutely farthest from the truth. And it escalated very fast, and it was personal because I know the business agent at the local 12, so he knew me. I went to his wedding. It was a hairy situation, Do
you thrive in stuff like that?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Pressure. I'm good under pressure.
Sometimes,
private investigators they had on us.
Wow.
We couldn't talk to our employees. We had to be represented by somebody to talk to our employees.
Why?
Because they didn't want us to threaten them.
Your own employees?
Correct. Because I guess people would say, hey, I'm going to freeze your pay if you vote yes. Because there was a vote now. What they do is they petition you to vote.
What was the vote?
We won the vote. Is it to go union or not to union? Your employees are actually the ones that vote. What? So now when they sign that petition, they're represented at that time by the local 12.
Okay,
union.
but who makes the vote? Who makes that decision?
Who's coming in saying
there needs to be a
your
vote.
company is either going union or it's staying public?
The National Labor Board.
What?
National Labor Board. And
that's
I mean,
shouldn't be allowed.
Seems illegal.
It is the craziest thing. So, and they have all the rules they want. They can lie. Because most of the stuff they said was not the 100% truth. You know what I mean? And we had to make a case. So we had to hire 2 attorneys, one to go with us to every job site to make sure we didn't say anything that we were not supposed to say. Mm-hmm. And we had also the best attorney in the city of Boston. And think about this, what a 4-year-old company.
Taking
it's not like we have
the money from your company to cover
we're
yourselves.
They're
They're threatened, absolutely. It's still not over. You fast forward, it was sleepless nights. Me and Rich were on the phone to midnight, 1 a.m. Things would happen daily. People were getting workman's comp injuries. They were coached how to call out sick and not get in trouble. They were
and a lot of these
fake injuries.
A lot of these employees were actually playing along.
They brainwashed a good amount of them until we started giving them.
Are any of them still with you now?
None of them actually. Weirdly, they must have left. But
ethically, of course.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, so we got through it, and we can have a whole episode on this because I think this needs to be heard in general and in the industry, because it would have sunk most companies. You know, luckily we're pretty in a good financial spot, but still we're 4 years old. It hurt us. Not did it hurt us, it took my eyes off the ball from February 19th. No, from January 19th to February 9th. So for a full month, my eyes were off the ball, did nothing with the business. Nothing with the business.
Just put it on autopilot.
I just was out on site every day talking to people, educating them. That's all I had to do was educate. And I couldn't say much other than just like what the letter of the law said.
What if you did say the wrong thing? Like, what would have happened?
Unfair labor charge. So I'm pretty sure we hit a record. We had no unfair labor charges. So we got top place to work 2023, December. Mid-February, after they lost the election, I think we hit a record, and we got 27 unfair labor charges. So they objected it. They said, looks a little familiar to right? They objected the election, and they said, you didn't win fairly. You cheated, even though we won over 2-1. It was 31-14. And
I don't understand these loopholes that are. It's so obvious when they're talked about.
It's money. Money governs everything.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, like, it's still super obvious when you talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you lay down the actual truth, it's like, oh, okay, that is that. How do they get? I just don't understand how they're able to get away with it like that.
Most people buckle. Most people, they
probably
expect
right.
people to crumble under that pressure, and
Yeah.
there's only a few that can withstand that and end up winning. But
Yeah,
the
that's
majority,
tough.
they're afraid. Like, look at, not that the mafia is a bad thing, but they did the same type of thing, right? They strong-armed certain companies and said, you have to pay us this amount, and people were afraid not to. But it can happen with the larger companies as well. That's exactly what they did. They went in and they said, give us some of your property, and they said no, so they made it difficult.
So if you went union,
just to be clear, if we went union, it's in my opinion that it wasn't designed for us to succeed. It was designed to, my opinion, it was designed
To
for
shut you
us
down?
to shut us down.
Yeah.
why do you think that is?
Because we were taking union jobs. And right now, I mean, if you go back
No,
2-3
but I'm saying,
years,
why do you think you would have failed if you went union?
because we just weren't designed. I didn't design the company to be a union company. We don't go into Boston a lot. We do service in southeastern Massachusetts.
Residential?
Residential,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Commercial and residential is two totally different things.
Yeah, and we almost operate as two different companies. You know, we have two separate divisions, and it started on the commercial division, obviously, and it kind of like sprinkled into the whole company. But like a lot of the people, in my opinion, it wasn't a good fit for, and it wasn't a good fit for the company either.
To go back to what you said about being a social media company, dude, do you have a social media team?
At this, it started out with just me.
Like, so
I
you
have a
started
video
running
of,
it?
Yeah, I started running it, and I got the team involved. That's a difference. I had the team buy into it, so they were sending me videos. I had people had logins to Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and they had some play in it. But it got to a point where it's like, let's hire a videographer, which is where you're seeing these videos now.
And you have a problem, we already have you.
At RCL Mechanical, we are always hiring. We look for people that fit our vibe. We're family oriented. We look for those people who are driven, really are just personable. We just want people that are going to fit in, that care about people, have the same morals as we do. That's the most important thing. The vibe is awesome. Everyone is really friendly, even when we're having bad days, because like everyone, we're people and we have bad days. Everyone is good to each other. Everyone is there for each other. Everyone makes each other laugh and smile. And even when we're having a bad time, we're all like, we're just family. RCL's always hiring, so come on and apply.
How does it feel, man, looking at that?
That makes me smile because I don't.
Knowing that you did that.
Sometimes
that
I
you
don't
built
take
that.
the time to watch my own videos, as crazy as that sounds. So like I'm looking at this, I'm like, first thing that came to mind was it was authentic. And now with looking at the back end of this video, we're finally putting call to actions in. Now that we built the trust, we built the know, like, and trust in everybody. Now we're actually doing a
Say
little
that
call to
again, you
actions.
built the what?
The know, like, and trust in everybody. Now we can actually put some call to actions, like call us. Like some of the best employees that we've gotten were through these videos, through Instagram.
Really?
Realistically, that's
Reaching
where
out, wanting to be a
that's
part of
where
what you're
our
doing.
client. That's where our employees are most of them, right? They're mostly in their early 20s, late 20s.
Yeah.
They're on Instagram. So if you go to my LinkedIn, totally different.
Right.
I actually just started changing my LinkedIn to have a little bit more authentic, normal human being stuff.
So you don't post the same content on, you have separate
content.
for separate platforms?
Anything commercial related is on LinkedIn because my customers are
Meaning in
general
office?
anything.
Okay.
My customers are general contractors and big construction managers, so they don't really care about
Hiring for the
residential and hiring for like they don't care about that stuff. I'm trying to get them to notice us. So we're in a network called ABC Contractors, and I'll never forget it. We were at something called Meet the Generals last year, and one of the biggest contractors in the state was like, he's like, RCL. He's like, I see your content all the time on LinkedIn. I've been meaning to reach out to you. Boom, we just connected. But that's the stuff. You know?
Out of all platforms, what do you think is the most important?
I think we get the most traction off Instagram right now.
Do you think LinkedIn is just as important?
In different ways. So if you ask me on my commercial division, it's LinkedIn. If you ask me on the residential, it's Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
If you ask me for running ads, it's Facebook.
Yes, Facebook's good for ads. They switched that up though recently. You have to like pay a lot to run a small little ad, or if you don't pay monthly, I think you kind of get shadow banned down to like, I don't know. I'll look into it, but it's different now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you spend on your marketing budget?
$500,000 to $600,000 a year.
$500,000 a year. I have a partner. He's incredible in the field. He's been in the field for 20 years. He knows a lot, man. He's taught me a lot, and he's very, very friendly. His customer service is great. He could diagnose everything, put it back together. He's incredible. When it comes to the marketing, when it comes to the business side, he's not used to getting stuff and not seeing an immediate return.
Yep.
Right. So I always am just hammering like marketing. We gotta do more. We gotta do more. Things are going good now. We're busy now because it's 100 degrees out. But I keep trying to say, you got to get ahead of it. It's working now, right? But let's keep going. If we're making good money now, let's take that money, dump it into marketing, because when it does get slow, we'll be one of the fewer companies that comes up because we're preparing ourselves, putting our money into that marketing. Just because it's going good doesn't mean you got to put the brakes on a little bit. You got to keep going. Am I right about that?
You're 100% right. Yeah, I'm always looking 3 months out.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to marketing, it's not an instant gratification thing. Like, you have to consistently go on there. And you can do free marketing. What you're looking at right now, a lot of it's free.
Yeah.
What's
your biggest marketing? Like out of all the things that you do, what brings in the most business?
Well, I think it's what you're looking at. I think those videos bring in the most business because customers are feeling feeling how authentic we are, and what they want to do business with people that they want to do business with a local company that treats their employees good, because everybody has kids, right? Mm-hmm. And dogs and all that stuff. They just want us to be normal, and we're getting great employees from social media, which make us the money. Like, I don't make the money. I'm just leading charge, It's like your partner. He's out there grinding and turning revenue. Mm-hmm. Less than, I would say, 10% of people can actually transition from a technician to a business mindset like me or you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that. It's tough to do that.
You know why
you should let him do his thing.
You know why it's such a great fit for us and why it's
opposites.
Working. Yeah. We're polar opposites. Yep. He loves being in the field, and he wants to be a tech. He wants to stay in the field. Do your thing, Mike. Do your thing behind the scenes. I'm the one doing all the marketing, the meetings, this kind of shit, the networking, the this or that. He just loves doing the marketing, and I love doing this, and that's why it's working.
That's huge, because I feel like, when you grow the company, like, he can be in charge of onboarding, training, all that stuff that, like, companies like me, we kill for. Like, we onboard so fast. I think I'm a professional on onboarding at this point, but like, I'm just big on SOPs, stuff like that. And that's stuff that you're going to have to like carve that path. You know what I mean? You might not be the right person for the SOPs, but you know enough to be dangerous and on how to point somebody in the right direction so he can train them, right? Yeah. So he's training everybody in the right direction. So I think if you're looking forward, and if anybody is looking forward after trying to hire that person after 2-3 people, is like, what do you have? What's the process? Because someone's going to want to come into a company this day and age, and they're going to want biggest time. They're going to want time off. People value time more than money these days.
A van.
They're going to want van. They're going to want convenience. Yep. So like that's what we gave. We said, hey, you know what? Anybody that gets hired here, there's no waiting period for benefits. Like, you're going to come in here and your 401k starts today, your vacation starts today, your sick time starts today, everything starts today, because we were just, what's the cost? The cost of not to get that technician.
You're so right. Yeah, you're so right. Because like you said, like, what is the cost? What's the difference really? if they're doing their job and they're worth putting money into and they're worth putting your investment in, you know, that kind of stuff, they should get it anyway.
It helps retain too. I'm sure retention is high.
Absolutely. You know, that's another thing. Retention. You're 100% right. I feel like obviously there's so much money involved in just like turnover and all that good stuff and learning the systems. One thing that I started doing because of all the stuff that happened with the union is we had some turnover because a lot of it, like, people started talking about money, and now like it just completely
What do you mean?
brainwashed everybody.
So like wanting more money?
Like, well, people will know what this person makes and this person makes, and so it's like everybody compares each other. It's almost like social media. Like, what do? Most people compare each other. Oh my God, look at that! It's a notebook. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a perfect relationship. No, that's not how it works in the fucking real life.
Yeah,
like,
true.
That is not how it looks. So people started comparing themselves. So we have some turnover after all this stuff happened, and one thing I found that I've been successful with is I do onboarding videos now. So if you're going to come in as a service technician, you're going to watch our 22-minute perfect service call. And that's one of our
Who
techs.
made the video?
My videographer.
With your crew?
My service tech.
How much are you posting a day? How many videos are you putting out a day?
I don't know if I think we do 5 a week.
5 a week.
We
That's
don't-
good. That's
you know what I
awesome.
mean?
Does your videographer do your editing too?
Yep, he does the editing, and some of them we kind of put some stuff in there as well. Like, that's a water heater ad. That's a Facebook ad that you're seeing right there. Get a free water heater.
So you have a full-time videographer that's out in the field all the time?
He's not full time.
Okay.
He's a third party.
Okay.
He's a partner. He's just the right one.
Gotcha.
I do the onboarding video, and then they do a test on that specific role, which is more situational than like technical.
Did you notice a difference when you didn't do that to when you did do that?
Yes, and I feel like they respect it more. Like, oh my God, I've never seen this before.
Respect the company more.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God, like, you know, number one, they get like a binder with their SOPs, which is like, okay, like most people probably read it once and throw it in the trash. But now to have like a high quality video that's like, it stamps at every time. Like if he goes, like, one of our technicians, they call and they say, their pre-call, they ask if they want a coffee. Hey, would you like a coffee, Mrs. Jones? And it's like, boom, at the bottom of the video stamps, ask them if they want a coffee or Gatorade. And it goes to the next process. So like it almost visually walks them through it. It makes them feel more comfortable that the whole team is doing it, right? Are they going to follow it to a T? No, they're going to make it their own. But
Yeah.
that's the mindset you need to be at.
How important are reviews, and how do you go about asking a customer for a review?
So reviews, from a hiring standpoint, we've had so many. Actually, I know the people that come in and talk about our reviews are the people that we want to hire, because I feel like the detailed task, like I feel like in the beginning of the business, you want to hire for like technical ability and like knowledge in the field. We're at the point that we're hiring for accountability, making sure things are getting done and in the process. And I feel like the people that come in that are task-driven, organized, and are forward thinkers always mention, I seen your Google reviews. You got 600 5-star reviews. Like, that's wild to me. Like, that's a company. And then I looked at your Instagram, and like, it's so crazy how many people actually do their research beforehand about that. So the Google reviews are very important, not just from a customer standpoint. I look at it totally different. Customers is great. One of our core values is customer service. So it's like, we're gonna do anything we can to get that 5-star review, even if we lose money.
Yeah.
But that's why we do it, is for the employees.
It's almost like before social media, you would look up the business information and you'd go interview with the knowledge of the business. And now the tables have turned. Like, before you go and interview with a company, everybody does all the research that they want on the company to see if they even want to go interview, because they're going to look at your socials, they're going to look at, you know, how you're vibing with everyday people and larger companies. So I might apply for your position, but then I look at your social and you look boring or not well put together, or, you know, this shows that you have the time and the energy. Yeah. So it's a resume in itself. It's pretty amazing.
People want to work for like a company like that.
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to work for a company, I'm biased a little bit, but I look at this company, I'd be like, that's badass.
Yeah, they look fun. Like, I want to be a part of that.
It's a little scary. I got to be on video like them people, but it's like almost like it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, maybe they'll get a video of me, right?
Yeah.
You just have that.
That's how I found you.
Yeah.
That's how we're here right now. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
It's the legitimacy. Dude, you do a great job with it. What advice would you give me starting off? We're 7 months in.
Yep.
We have turned 320,000 so far, and that's been part-time. We're finally full-time. We went full-time, 2 weeks ago, officially. So we're
Congrats.
We're officially full time now. We bought a brand new truck, $90,000 Chevy, brand new service truck. But right now it's just me and Mike, which I'm fine with. But I know in order to grow, we need to find that installer, and I feel like we need to step up our social media a little bit with Horizon. What advice would you give a company like myself for taking it to that next step?
Do you need an installer, and are you confident that you keep an installer busy?
Yes, right now, yeah.
You said right now, so what about in the fall?
Well, if I'm doing the same type of marketing that I'm doing now in the fall and I pivot towards furnace heating, then I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
I can't say 100%.
Well, I think that's the doubt that I got rid of. What you're doing, you're exactly me.
Yeah.
When I got rid of that doubt of keeping them busy, I found them, because you're almost self-sabotaging yourself,
Yeah.
dude.
That's
Think
funny.
about it.
It's good. I had a conversation with somebody this morning. I offered him a deal, and he was like, "Can you keep me busy?" And I was like, "Dude," he goes, "Listen, because he's got a job, he's got a CDL, but he's like the guy that I can feel would be good for us." And you're right, dude. I kind of said like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
And that's exactly what turned them off.
Yeah.
You know, you can still get them, but like, think
Yeah.
about it. Someone wants to work for somebody that's confident,
Yeah.
that can lead them.
Yeah.
No matter, even if you don't think that they want to work for someone that's confident. And I feel like that I would I always say it, get the contract first, worry about getting it done later.
Yeah. I did start thinking like that.
Get that
recently,
employee,
for sure.
worry about it later.
Yeah.
It's because you work off pressure, man.
Yeah.
So once you have that guy and you're like 40 hours a week, I got to get him booked out. I need 2
Yeah.
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
What did I say?
That's so true. You said that just yesterday
Yes.
with your grocery store.
What did I say?
He said, I was thinking, and what I've noticed about myself in the last 3 years is I work really well under pressure. And he goes, and right now we're super, super comfortable.
Yeah.
This is
I
exactly
feel like
the
things are going too
challenge
good right
that you
now.
needed.
You know what I mean? I feel like we're wicked busy. We're doing 5, 6, 7 calls a day. The money's coming in. The bank account's fat. We're doing everything's great. But I'm like, I gotta kick it. I gotta kick it into gear. I need
challenge.
I need a challenge.
Yeah, and you don't want to burn your partner out.
No.
Yeah.
So
No.
you got to get an installer.
You need an installer.
And I mean, if I had to give you some advice, I'd probably get someone that can install and can service. So he has some backup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yep.
And if you have to pay a little bit more for him, you got to pay a little bit more for him. One thing that people, we don't have a ton of haters, but the people that are around town that do say stuff, they're like, "Oh, what the hell? RCO's coming in here taking all the guys. They're paying them too much. This, that." I'm like, that's a good feeling to me. I'm paying them too much. Like, I want to pay them.
Dude,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
and wait a second. I feel like a lot of people have lost a little bit of touch on what people get paid these days.
Yes.
Like, we know it because we're in the grind. Like, the days of a licensed plumber at $22 an hour that's gone. You double that.
You can
on a
make
good day.
$18 an hour at McDonald's. How can you?
I'm so glad you said that.
It's a
You're
big
right.
deal. If that's where
100%.
McDonald's is starting at, and you need
20
zero.
in some areas.
Yeah, it just says a lot.
So who wants to go in a freaking attic for $20 an hour these days?
Seriously. And
Unfortunately.
if somebody shows up every day, they are reliable, they're good in front of people, that's $30 an hour.
You're right.
That's $30 an hour. The skills and stuff like that, you'll get raised, you'll get a bump up to, 32, 34, 35.
And you got some people just they're small time thinkers, right? So like $30 an hour. Oh my God, I only charge $90 an hour. It's like you got to charge more. That's a you
Yeah.
problem. You got to keep up. Like
Yeah,
we're $300 an hour.
yeah.
You just don't know it because we don't say, "Hey, we're $300 an hour."
Yeah, we're at
You know what I mean?
250, 200, something like
So
that.
we're flat rate, but
Yeah.
it breaks out to like 300.
Yeah. How
right?
do you do your so I got a ductless split, blowing warm air. What's your process?
They talk to one of our wonderful CSRs. They get booked. It's $99 for us to come out as a dispatch fee. And we always have a credit card on file. And
You get that credit card on file before they go out.
And 99% of the people don't even say nothing.
They just give it to you?
Yeah, but we don't charge it.
Right, of course not,
We're
of
going to
course,
charge it
of
after the
course.
call, but it's just one less thing the technician. So this is where people lose a little bit. Like, unfortunately, where we're at right now in the industry is like we need to make it as easy as possible for the technicians, because most of them they just want it. They want to put pipe in the wall. They want to put duct in. They don't want to deal with confrontation with payment. They don't want to deal with collecting a check. 99% of the people pay with a credit card. Hey, we're gonna grab a credit card on file. The $99, we know they're serious. We know they're not tire kickers, and put a credit card on file. We're qualifying them without even knowing that, right?
Yeah.
Because we're going there, we're offering the best service. We are like, shoe covers. We're on top of our game, and If you don't want to pay, if you don't want to do those two things, you're not our customer. But I will say, if you're elderly, if you like, hey, I just only got checks, like I'll pay, like
There is
different story.
There is
If they
for
just,
sure.
there's exceptions, right? We're all human. Some people just don't have credit cards. They don't believe in it. So it's like, but it depends on how they deliver it. So yeah, that's funny.
Do you charge a fee for credit cards?
No. It's buried into them our hourly rate.
Okay. Because we are trying to deal with that right now. What do you use QuickBooks?
We do.
Yeah. So we use QuickBooks for charging, but like they charge like a crazy, it's like we got a $4,000 payment in yesterday. I think they took like something like $120 for the fee. So is that something that you just eat?
Yeah.
You do?
I do, yeah. I just build it into our pricing.
Okay.
You're probably gonna want to throw like 5% on all your pricing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that we've been talking about the last couple of days is how to work that. Because I feel like when you start saying, well, there's an extra fee, like those extra fees, people don't want to hear.
They don't want to hear
extra
fee. So we didn't even say that there's a dispatch fee. That's not how we say it.
Yeah.
We reworked that. At the end of the call, it's like, okay, it's gonna be $99 for us to come out. And if they say like, what is it for? It's like, oh, that's just, we're coming out there, we're traveling. It's a diagnostic of your equipment.
How many women do you have or people do you have answering the phones?
4.
Wow, you're getting that many calls.
No, not
And
really.
are they all it's all the same number.
It's all, well, we have different tracking numbers.
Okay,
So
how does that work?
So the second phase I think you need to get into is like, okay, you're doing the revenue you are now. I think you're gonna start looking into like a CRM that's gonna be able to grow with you.
What's
and then
that?
a CRM, like customer relationship management software, like Service Titan, a House Call Pro.
Okay, Service Titan, I've heard of them, yeah.
And then you can now get into service tracking numbers. Like when you get into marketing heavy, like tracking numbers is what helps you. Like if you go to, all my numbers are different from Google to Yelp to even those video ads. They're all different than what my main number is because we track where the streams come from.
That's what I keep asking. We did some marketing this morning for door hangers, and my question was, but how do we know that we're getting that 5% back from the door hangers specifically? So he's changing his number per Facebook, per Instagram, per LinkedIn, so that he knows exactly where it's coming from.
No, it forwards to all the new numbers. So everything forwards to my main number, but it goes to that tracking number
How do you
first.
do that? What service provides that?
So you can do it multiple. Like Service Titan has it integral. But
So
like
Service
someone
Titan
like
has that.
someone like you should. If it's just starting out, you can do like Twilio. You can do
Twilio?
call tracking metrics, stuff like that.
What is it? Are those apps?
Nah, they're softwares. You can get it right
Software?
online. They're apps too, So
they call, so you have different numbers that call to the same phone.
yes.
Okay, so different marketing material, you can use different numbers, and that's how you essentially track what's working, what's not working.
Yep.
And there should be, so Stephanie has her personal her work number now that we use, that we're going to start using for like the call center,
Yep.
So, wow, that's 4 people. So, and they're on the phone all day?
Yeah. They're on the phone all day. They're doing outbounds. They're doing inbounds. They're
What are
also
the outbound calls like? Sorry.
like happy calls. Like, hey, how were you happy with your service? Also, did they, if we see they didn't buy a membership,
So they follow up after a call or
Yep.
a service to see if they liked it, and then you also offer a membership.
yes.
So that's interesting.
Which is service tech should do on site. But if he doesn't sell it, we also call back and say, hey, I saw you got a maintenance. Just so you know, we do offer annual maintenances. We actually come out twice a year instead of once a year, and it's automatically scheduled. You get 10% off your future services, all this stuff.
What do you do twice a year? Like just spring?
We go in there in the
Spring and fall.
And you don't make money on it, but it's gets you in the house
Right.
for upsells.
And it keeps you guys going too.
Yeah.
Keeps you guys
Shoulder
going.
season. So we got like 500 or 600 memberships right now. So think
Really?
about that.
Wow,
Reoccurring, like
Reoccurring.
like a Netflix pit,
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
incredible.
And that's how you're really gonna increase your EBITDA on your company.
Your what?
Your EBITDA.
What's that?
Like, if you ever were thinking about selling at some point.
Because you can
The
show.
subscription model.
Yeah.
You have talked about that a lot.
Yeah, because that's what Planet Fitness, that's what all the gyms do. They
Yes.
bank on people coming in the first of the year because they're all gun-ho, and then people fall off. They don't go to the gym, but
only
they're
$10
still
a
paying
month.
that $20 a month. They're going to just keep paying it.
I feel like one of the most important things for that is it keeps you guys going.
Yes.
You know,
That too.
is right? That's like one of the bigger things. Is like
Yeah.
if you're
Replacement opportunities and keeps everybody going shoulder season.
yeah.
So you're talking about over here, like, hey, can I keep this guy going, keep him busy? Can you imagine if the owner of the company, the 50% owner of the company, sells, I don't know, if he's on 5 calls a day, he sells maybe 2 of them a day, 2 times what? In the next 30, 60 days,
Yeah.
you just created what? 20, 30 calls for October, November.
Yeah. Yep.
That could be replacement opportunities. There's a lot to take in, and we can definitely take it
No,
offline and more and
yeah,
more.
yeah.
But it becomes overwhelming. I go so fast, and it's so hard for people to keep up with me.
No, I'm
in the
keeping
company,
up, dude. Yeah,
but, like,
I'm retaining.
We
all
can
this,
like
for sure.
That's how you want to create it, and obviously, I'll do anything I can to help you.
Yeah,
get
dude,
you
that's
the
what
material
I-
you need.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's what's so cool is
on the Stairmaster. We'll go at it.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah. Are you working out right now?
Yeah, I go 3-4 days a week.
Yeah,
I
you go
spend
mornings,
about-
right?
I go
I
mornings.
can't do it, dude. I can't. I'm not a morning person. I like. 7
Well, I'm
o'clock,
glad you say
7:30.
that, because we're talking about this is mindset, right?
Yeah,
Because you just got to learn your body. I think every entrepreneur is like, oh yeah, morning, capitalize on your day.
yeah.
But you got to realize what works for you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
We
it doesn't
tried
have
it.
to be in the
Well,
morning.
we do mornings, but we do it backwards. So we get up and we're
so
all day, and then we stay up till 2 o'clock planning what is next for life. So
Yeah.
but then it's hard to get up and go
we
super early
I
after that.
agree.
Yeah, we do most of our podcasts at like 9 at night, and a lot of people are like, why? I feel like at night I don't know. There's something that when like 8 o'clock comes around, I'm just like firing off ideas. I'm talking to her nonstop. What about this? What about
If
that?
things quiet down, the phone stops ringing.
That's
Like,
what it
Yeah,
is.
My
that's
phone just
probably what
my
it
phone must have
is.
rang
That's what it
10
is.
times
That's
while we're
what-
here.
I have mine
Yeah.
off because I don't want.
I don't know. I thought I turned mine off, but
Yeah.
it keeps ringing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what's going on.
You're right. The distractions that
Yeah.
are minimal. I've never thought about that. It's so true.
It's true.
That's
it's
the
true.
time when you can actually put this down
But
and
some of
think.
the like really good ideas that we've had are from just sitting in our bedroom just talking.
Yeah.
Because
Well, you're gonna get the shower. I
Mhm.
get all my ideas from the shower
Yep.
and driving.
yep.
When you're an entrepreneur, I feel like you gotta be moving. Like there's gonna be some sense of like balance, right? Think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Where are your best? When did you think about starting Horizon? When did that come to life? Like when did you actually speak that out loud?
What was I doing? Or
Yeah, like what were you doing? Like when did you have that idea? Because you said it came out of nowhere,
it
right?
did, man. I didn't
were you
even know what
doing? I'm just
HVAC
curious.
was. Yeah. So Mike, I knew Mike from football. His son and my son played football together. And we knew each other from town. We'd see each other at practice. We'd hang out, have a beer, hang out here and there. And he saw what I was doing with CES. He saw, the growth in CES. Our first year we did 1.2 million. Our second we did 1.8. And that was, I had 29 guys working for me at one point. And he saw like the craziness, and he knew that I was just a business-minded, individual. And one day he pulled me aside at football practice. Actually, I think we were on the golf course. Yeah, we were on the golf course. Hence the logo. The logo
Horizon.
is Horizon Golf Course.
Oh, that's cool.
That's why, because we thought of it on a golf course. And he's like, dude, he goes, I really want to get back in HVAC. He goes, would you want to partner with me? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is, dude. I knew, I didn't know fully. I didn't put it this way. I didn't know a furnace or a boiler had to do with HVAC. I knew it was air conditioning, but I didn't know about it. And he goes, don't worry about it. He goes, I've been in the business for 20 years. I'll do the tech. You build the business. Let's put this thing together. And I went home later that night. I said, I'll think about it. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, you know what? Construction is a want. It's not a need. Some things are need, but when you get into like the what's that called? The insurance work, that stuff that's needed, it's garbage, because like
Yeah.
they're getting insurance money. They want the best of the best. The restoration work is crap, and that's the need in construction. Everything else is a want. I wanted to get into something that was an absolute need. You can't go without it. And that was, that's when I thought and made the decision to do it, because I was,
Where were you at the time? Do you remember the place you were at?
yeah.
Where you were sitting
When I
you
made the
said-
decision?
You made the decision.
Yeah, I was sitting at my desk. I was looking at HVAC stuff on Instagram. I was doing a little bit of research on what HVAC consisted of. I was sitting downstairs at my desk, and I called them and I said, let's do this. I said, I talked to him. I said, listen, I'll never lie to you. I'll never do you wrong. I will be the best partner that you could think of. Let's do this together. If you can give that to me in return, I promise you, I'll build this company to be one of the biggest companies in Rhode Island. And he was like, let's do it. The biggest obstacle I found with Mike, and it wasn't an obstacle. He had every right. He was working for another company. He was working for Citizens Bank, and he was an FM vice president over there. He was
I'm you saying that.
making good money, 140 grand a year. He just walked away from that, and it took a while. I didn't expect him to walk away right away. I knew it was going to take time, but I knew when I made the decision that when he was ready, we were going to go. We were going to go balls to walls, and it slowly happened. We both saw it. We saw changes in him. He just
That's awesome.
whole new attitude, man. And he's older, man, and like
How old?
he's 47, 46.
He's
10 years
in
old.
his
He's like 9
40s.
years older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got a family, man. He's got a house he's got a lot of responsibilities. And for him to make that decision and make that leap and go into work and say, I'm done, man. I'm going off to another venture. Gives me
Kudos.
goosebumps, dude, just thinking about it.
Kudos to him.
Yeah.
He probably feels like just such a new human being,
Dude,
like a
he
new
does.
beginning.
Tell him he called him last week. He's like, dude, I woke up at 9. I did a service call. I came home. I went for a swim. My wife made me lunch, and I went back out. He goes, I'm living the life.
Yeah.
Like for once, he's not in that corporate position where
Yeah.
he's in suit, tie, stuffy inside a building doing what he doesn't love. He's passionate about HVAC, and he's living again.
Mike is super talented. He is very good with people. He is a hell of a worker. He's one of those old school type, like just
Pen
I'm
and
brazen
paper,
it. I'm
no electronics.
Yeah, I'm doing brazen. I'm not doing none of that pecs. He's old school, but he had a lot of people, friends, a lot of people around him that didn't believe in him a lot. And I hate to say this on air, but it is what it is. But we were that people on the side of him that, I mean, I believed in him 100%.
We were cheerleaders.
I believed in him enough to become partners with him in a business that I'm giving my 100% in. I'm CES Construction was a way for me to get to this position. And I knew that from day one. When I started CES Construction, I knew it was a way for me to pay the bills and to get into another position that was better, because you can only go so far with construction. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You can build, if you get involved in a union, if you do this, you may be able to line your pockets and make a decent living. I was thinking way more, man. I was thinking way more than just $1 million a year. The stress that comes with construction is insane. And I do really well with stress. I bury it. Sometimes I completely bury it. But with, I'm ready to make a decision to put that aside and do 100% Horizon and
That's awesome.
give this my all, man. Give it my all. And I think between the both of us, Sheena helps out tremendously. She's the
Do
biggest
it.
cheerleader you could possibly imagine.
Sheena, so how do you support the business?
Well, like he said, I'm behind the scenes cheerleader. I love being able to video them when they're on
she's
a
good.
call or if they're at the house or making these Canva things for the Instagram or
Nice.
for Facebook. I like being behind the scenes because I'm watching everyone grow, and I'm able to help without being tied to I need to be sitting at a desk doing something
Yeah.
for the company. So I'm more flexible and more. I'm an entrepreneur as well, so I have to have some of that freedom.
I bet you give that like vision, that 30,000-foot view of like he's in the grind.
Yeah.
And he may not see something. You're like, well, honey, I think if you looked at it this way, it might
Yeah.
come out
100% all
And
the time.
That's powerful.
All the
Yeah.
time,
That's
man.
powerful.
Dude, she's the perfect.
I'm finding the building, our next building where we're gonna be at.
Yeah, that's- she's the perfect partner for this kind of stuff.
So what else do you do? You said you're an entrepreneur. Do you do anything else? Do you have another business?
Yeah, I have a skincare company
Nice.
that I do all online. It's drop shipping.
Nice.
But what I always see with entrepreneurs is you have to be passionate in what you're
Yeah.
doing. And I would put anything aside because my passion is just watching him grow, watching him thrive, watching the companies thrive, all of his employees.
I can
Like
see that. Yeah.
it's fun. You're creating because you're liberating a lot of people. His partner alone is the first example of how many people, how many families will be able to help get to a different spot.
You
in
have
life,
had
so.
such a major impact on him.
Really?
Oh my God, man. Like, just because you're just so positive and like you give that just like that type of energy that you hold, he, I attribute that for him doing this is a lot of it was from you.
Oh, thank you.
100%.
It was us. It was a team.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, that's how it started, man. And, I absolutely love business. I love everything about it. I love just seeing something. It's like that climb, you know what I mean? Like the climb to the top. I don't care about the top. I just love being in the moment. I love just like the everyday, like waking up. All right, what's on the to-do list today? I said it today. Like if we have a slow day, I hate those days. Those are the worst.
I agree.
I hate them, man. It's like I start getting antsy. I'm like, what can we do?
It's not breaking shit.
Yeah, dude. It's just like it's like I always need a challenge.
Yeah.
Always. What got you into real estate?
I think I had a strong passion for it when I was working for that company and I was plumbing. Not
That's
only
definitely
was
our
I,
next move.
yeah, and I think they feed each other a little bit, right? I think I really had a big passion for it, and my passion shifted in like 2020 when building RCL. So I kind of like you, I put my real estate company to the back burner. I trusted other people to kind of take it and run with it. I mean, we still do a ton of revenue and it's a monster still, but it gets like 30% of my attention. But that's how I kind of get into it, and I think, like you said earlier, it's all about passion. It's like, what do you want to be a passion? But what I have realized as I get older, it's like, do what feeds you. You know what I mean? Like what feeds you to be passionate? Like, and I owned a restaurant.
Really?
I got into a restaurant and there was a restaurant that was kind of like going south in Taunton. I came in, I rehabbed it. I got it up and running. Never done a restaurant, never rehabbed the restaurant.
How old were you?
This was 2019, 2020. It was like 2020. Opened in 2020, I think, end of 2020. The restaurant was doing like, the first year. This was in COVID, so the restaurant was booming. We did like I think 3 or 4 million the first year.
Wow.
It's a very
What kind of food
successful
was it?
restaurant. It was just a basic American steak
Yeah.
and seafood.
Liquor license?
Yep, liquor license. It was a 99-person restaurant, even though we
Oh,
fit
yeah.
most of the time. It was like
99.
150 because we had the outside diner, the outside area.
It was a 99?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. So it was a franchise.
No, it was a 99-person
99
restaurant.
Capacity.
person.
Oh,
got you,
capacity.
Yeah,
got you.
it was called the River House in Taunton.
Mhm.
I then sold it after talking to one of my mentors. He's like, Mark, you get your hands in so much shit. I wonder why you're going crazy. He's like, why do you do the restaurant? I'm like, and I think it was part of me is just like, I wanted to say that I was a restaurant owner. I want to say I did it. At that time in 2020, when I first left my company, it was different, right? I didn't have as much going on. And then when you have 30, 40 employees, it's like, okay, maybe the restaurant's not a great idea. So I think everybody has to realize things change.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that I sold it. It was one of the happiest days of my life because I
Did you make money on
didn't
it?
know I'd made money on it.
Nice.
And I didn't love it. And so now my focus is on EastSide and RCL. And, now it's shifting once again. Now RCL is getting built out pretty good. I'm getting those leaders in there. We went through a hell and back and, it's getting in a good spot. So now I'm reshifting my focus on EastSide to make sure that things and systems are in place and things are in the good growth to where we want to be in the next couple of years. So,
Are you going to take a lot of those same principles that you learned with RCL to Eastside?
So I think that they go hand in hand. I think I've learned them both kind of like doing. They're different, right? It's like Eastside's almost like CES. It's like very
What do you do? You buy and sell, buy and rehab?
Yeah, go to the Eastside Instagram.
What can a seller expect when they work with EastSide Home Solutions? They can expect a thorough 45-minute walkthrough of their property and a professional team giving them the details of what they can expect during the sale. We touch on repairs, the closing process, what the offer is going to look like. You will get one of these folders and it's going to have everything you may need in it from start to finish on what you can expect and how the process is going to go. We talk about how we're going to clean your property out, buy it as is. And when I mean as is, truly you are walking out of the property giving us the keys and you are on your way. You have no closing costs, no clean out, no dumpster fees, and no traditional listing fees or anything like that. So we truly make the process easy for you. We work with people that inherit their properties, they're in probate, anything along those lines. We will take that burden on. So if you're looking for somebody that you can trust and you can count on, EastSide Home Solutions is the partner for you. What can a seller expect
Dude,
when
you're
they work with
incredible.
EastSide
Yeah.
Home Solutions?
This is very good, man.
Great
But
speaker.
so you buy, so if I had a property for sale, you would come in, buy it cash.
Yes. So it's we buy
And then you-
distressed homes.
And then you would rehab it and then sell it.
Oh yeah, like you see the signs, we buy ugly homes
Yes.
or
That's
ugly
what you-
houses.
okay.
type
Essentially,
thing.
that's what we
Yeah.
do. Now, inventory has gotten a lot more
Scarce,
harder
yeah.
to get. So we now do development. Like in 2020, we got into development, and that started off with like, once again, I got in bed with the right contractor. Said, "Hey, I'm gonna stand next to you. I'm gonna build this house with you. You know, I don't care if I make $1. Built that first house. Now we have a road going in Taunton with 14 units. We have 36 unit development going on in Norton that we're going to be doing. We have 3 new constructions going on right now, and I think we just sold 2 rehabs.
What kind of value can you bring to? So I have a contractor who is a master builder. He's incredible. We're trying to figure out how we can work together. What kind of value can you bring to a builder to make a partnership with them to build these developments and to build these?
Work for them. I think you're in a different spot, but if I'm like coming up and I don't have, and if I'm working on a job that I don't love, say it's like your partner there, he worked at Citizens. What's the best way to link up with the builder? It's like, hey, I'm gonna come work for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll do it for nothing. Let me shadow you. Let me do something. Let me work for you. I'll make minimum wage, because you can't buy the knowledge. Like, I learned how to build that house. Did I learn everything? No, but I learned enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then here I am. I've probably built 20 houses in the past 3 years.
So you're building the houses with your crew?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I sub it out for the most part, but I have three full-time carpenters.
So how do you find the deal? Like, how do you find the land?
We do direct marketing, direct mail. So, you ever get those postcards in the mail?
Yeah.
I'll buy a house. I'll buy a house.
Yep.
That's us. We cold call. We have a team that cold calls. We have partnerships with a lot of wholesalers. We work with you probably see their signs in Rhode Island, Beth and CJ Moss.
Oh yeah.
Moss Home Solutions. So we're consistent and disciplined on every aspect of marketing.
Yeah, marketing. It is it.
Marketing, we don't spend as much with marketing with EastSide. We could, but like I'm at max capacity, so I got to know my like limits.
That's interesting. So, yeah. So hooking up with good subs is super important with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of turnover in subs. We have a pretty
Take you a while to find good subs.
It
go
did,
through a lot of shit bums
because I feel like they want to work with people that are reputable.
Yeah.
So like now if I call, they're gonna come. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter like what the situation is.
But
They have my back.
You're financing the project.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the That's
Yeah.
where the
That's where he's bringing in the
yes,
the value
exactly.
to
That's where we need
contractor.
to.
Yep.
That's where we need to. That's the gap that we need to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good.
Is
100%. And I think it's just finding a deal. Like when you go to find that deal, like that deal right there, the middle one with me sitting on the porch, I rehabbed the house right next to it in 2017. And
Wow.
in 2017, and I was putting postcards in this guy's mailbox. It was vacant. I was calling the other owner. It was in probate. I started that in 2017. I landed it in 2021. It was a single family house. It was a single family house. I pretty much knocked it down, as you could tell, and I put a 3-family house. Between 2017 and 2021, the zoning changed. I could now put a 3-family versus a single family.
Wow.
So
So it actually worked out in your favor then
Yes, it
by
did.
him not taking the bait right in the beginning.
absolutely.
what did you buy that deal for?
112,000.
Wow.
And you probably got
I-
what 350 for?
No, I put 400,000 into it, and now I rent out. It's a 3-family. I rent out each unit for $3,400 a month.
Wow.
So it's like a
How many
10
Incredible.
properties do you own?
I have 50 units.
50. Yeah, we gotta
a whole nother-
that's the next step right there.
And if you can deal with what we deal with every day, having 50 units sounds like a lot, but like those calls are nothing. Like I got ants, no problem. Call the pest guy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it's just delegation. Like it's nothing like
Yeah.
it's like CES. It's like you're doing a lot of coordinating.
Yeah,
Right? Everything in business is coordination,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Who do I find? You know what I mean? You can't do everything yourself. So
Yeah.
like at some point you have to let go of that leash and start to delegate and trust people. I say the biggest thing in business that people don't allow people to do that hinges you from success and to grow is going to be delegation and to trust other people.
Yeah, that's why a lot of companies. I have a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine, that has a company that he will not hire anybody new. He won't put that trust in anybody, and he's fine with it. He's staying right where he's been for the last 4 years. You know, he's
Some people, that's good.
yeah.
My buddy, the Boston Plumber Monster. Have you ever follow him?
Who is it?
Boston Plumber Monster.
No.
No.
So
What's that on Instagram?
Put that on Instagram. Boston Plumbing Monster.
Is that the handle?
Yeah, it's something like that. It might be.
What's his deal?
So this is a perfect. I would search it.
Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah. This is interesting for everybody that's trying to get into business that's listening to this. So I work with this kid at Sagamore.
Oh, dude, I've seen this kid.
Yeah.
Oh, he's huge.
Huge.
He's huge on Facebook.
And Instagram.
Go up, Ash. What's his following? Oh yeah, I've seen this kid, man.
So he's from New Bedford.
good for him.
I was his apprentice at Sagamore. In 2020, he always go back and forth. I left. I'm like, and he used to do my plumbing because I would hire out on EastSide. I wouldn't do my own plumbing because I just didn't want to deal with the phone calls. And I'm like, and he was doing all my rehabs, and he's like, I really want to leave. He's like, I got 4 kids. I'm sick of this. I'm working I'm up at 4. I'm back here at, this date and at this time. And he's like, I'm like, Matt, you quit. I'll give you every single rehab that I have until you get on your fucking feet. This kid, great dude. He's just finished up the new construction for me. He, look where he took his business. He's getting paid off Timberland. People are banging at his door. He's got all types of sponsorships. He's got 109. He's making, I don't want
one of his
I'm not
videos,
going
Ash.
to air out his information, but he's making thousands of
I know,
dollars a
he
month
must be. He must
on
be.
Instagram.
He must
Yeah.
be.
So
His videos are really good too, man. He gets it.
20 years ago, I'd be talking to high school students about the trades.
Oh, that's so cool.
Let's go.
Go to one where he's in the field. I want to see him
Yeah.
working.
So this is how it started. And he's not even trying anymore. I feel like he just does this like it's his.
He says a filler.
But he's funny. So look at his shirt. Your sister's favorite plumber.
Yeah.
So
We saw that.
like,
All right, so we're back where the open trench was when we added the toilet.
Ash, go down as far as you can. Go down like pretty far. Let's see if we can get some. Because he looks like he evolved, right?
Yeah.
Like he used to be like.
Dude,
he's like, I'm gonna do this to your sister, kid.
I used
So,
to
like,
watch
he's
this
like-
kid all the time.
It's a good tagline.
I didn't know he
Yes.
was from New Bedford. I knew he was from Boston because of his accent. I didn't know he was
So
from New Bedford.
look at you
though.
got some funny ones. Let's go up. He's got some gifs and stuff like that. Go to the Donald Trump one. That's good. That's fitting.
I haven't done it yet. I may do it. If this doesn't work out, probably I will do it. I would almost say
that's awesome.
definitely.
What's that?
I haven't done
So-
it yet.
That's awesome.
I mean,
may
you got
do it.
35
If this
3,500
doesn't work out,
likes.
probably I will.
So
do
he
it.
just-
I would
Comments.
almost
That's
say
awesome.
He just makes it work, Like,
Dude,
So him-
109,000 followers for a plumber is insane.
yeah. But he influenced. So that happened, and then Doug Connolly, he's an electrician, and he does. So you probably seen him on my Instagram. He does all my electrical, and he quit the union, and he does all electrical. Same situation. And I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna stick with Doug. Like he's doing the same thing as Matt. This was 3 years ago.
It's working?
Boom, working. But he kills it. He's consistent, right?
So he does all your electrical?
Yeah.
You pretty much keep him busy, like all the, like,
Yeah, I think he just told me he gave him about $200,000 this year so far.
just from your jobs?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
So, for everybody that's kind of listening in and watching, like, make it your own. Like you don't have to do what me and Mike are doing. Like you can. It starts and then it evolves. This like Matt just. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go out. He still drives around an Astro van that's from like when I say Astro van, like I'm talking like Astro vans from like 1988.
I can
He
picture
still
it.
isn't an Astro van, but that's him.
Yeah.
But like he's making a killing. He's living life. He says he has 4 kids. I think 4 or 5 kids, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I don't start work till noon. He's like, I'd rather work 12 to 9, 12 to 10, 12 to midnight. Like I want to put my kids on the bus. I want to like work. He's a great kid.
There is no right or wrong way to do it when you're doing it on your own time, right? And
Right.
that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. And like from day one, I've always, like, working for other companies, I've always looked at the top, like, how is this company ran? Who runs this company? How are they making money? Where's the money coming from? I always was like, I don't want to be the best at my job, and, like, I wanted to be good, but I never was like, oh, I'm going to get so good. I'm going to be, I always had, like, all right, I need to know who's running this, how they're running it. And when you get to that point where you can kind of make your own, like you just said, make it your own, it starts to work. It starts to work. It starts to come together because you're doing something that you truly want to do. You're not forcing anything. I told you the other day, I'm at the point in my life right now where I can just do what I want to do. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. Yeah. I have people knocking at my door all the time. You see it all the time. Let's start this together. Let's do this. Let's do this show together. Let's do this. And more than not, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't want to. I don't need to. It's not going to add value to me. You know, if I don't feel like it's going to add value to myself or my family, I don't need to do it. And once you get to that point, man, I feel like it all comes together. And you may need to go through a little bit of struggle to get there. Yes, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to it doesn't happen just like that. I agree. You can't make that decision and then all of a sudden be on your own. And you know, there's definitely steps that you need to make in order to get there.
I agree.
Mark, with such a busy load and just every day, you have multiple businesses. You said you're a father. Who supports you? How do you, you're giving to so many, how do you get that back as the owner?
You know, first of all, my wife, I think she's a rock star. You know what I mean? She came into this. She's grown with me. She accepts me, you know what I mean, for who I am and what I want to do. So that's the biggest thing. So I think that you need to surround yourself by somebody that believes in you and that's going to support you in any way. Because I've been in relationships before this that's like, it's gasoline, right? It's gasoline on the fire, and it almost does the opposite effect. You don't grow. You don't, and then you're upset with yourself, and you know, so like to actually partner with somebody that's like, you know, they get it. They're like, you know what, I'm all in if you're all in. Let's do this. Kind of like you two. Yeah. Like you guys are probably gonna skyrocket, right? Because you guys are feeding off each other's energy, and you don't even really know it. But yeah, I would say that number one is the wife, absolutely. And at this point now I have assistants that really help, and I just find a way just to hire somebody. And sometimes I hire too much, but I figure it out and it's wrong. You know what I mean? So I've hired people, I've fired people, and you just got to figure out what works for you. You know, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I hired my first executive assistant. Everybody kept telling me to get one, but I didn't know how to dish it off. And I almost felt like rude being like, hey, here's my shit. Get it done. You know what I mean? But like, I make it my own and I'm respectful about it. It's almost weird. Like I almost hand off all my operational stuff versus like my calendar. It's kind of like different. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, but I'm trying to let go of the calendar and the emails. That's like the last thing. It's like my baby. Like, because I feel like I can't go to bed at night unless I check my emails. Because it's like, all right, checked off the box. Boom, I'm going to sleep like a baby. Let's get it. But yeah, I mean, it's the team around me overall. It's like I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have a wife, because she like makes everything easy for me. Like I can't even like we have a housekeeper that like, you know, she puts my clothes out. She organizes my clothes by color. Like I'm a very regimented person.
We just got one.
And you know what? And she's like, Mark, you can. I'm like, can she like put the blueberries? Like she meal preps. She's like, I'm gonna have her. I'm gonna have her meal prep. And I'm like, yeah, like she's here. Like why not? Like she's like, I'm like, all right, 28 grams of blueberries, this that. Like so now, and then it's like phase 2, right? It's like now I'm like, can you tell Rudeline to like pick the stems off, please? Because it's like it takes up too much time. I'm driving. I put it in my yogurt, driving. It got stems. I'm like, what the frick? But like, I think it's just different stages, and I think I try to keep it fun, you know. And the work-life balance for me has been very tough. The past year, I've gotten a real good handle on it, and I think that I've had mentors, I've had coaches, and everything's been business related to boost the business, boost revenue, learn marketing. But I never put enough time into like how to manage my life, right? Personal. So like I was gaining some weight. I wasn't getting to the gym as much as possible. I'm a pretty motivated person, so like I just I get there, just my diet's off. So like, and then I hire a fitness coach. So I just learned to like really. Have you ever read the book Buy Back Your Time?
No.
So
no, I haven't even heard of it.
I'm gonna send it to you. It's Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell. I have an extra one. I'll give it to you. And he just talks about how to delegate, you know what I mean? And how it's going to buy back your time to make you a better human being, really. I'm trying to figure out how to listen better. So what I started doing is I've always been so against listening to the music. I listen to stuff at the gym other than music. Like I want to go to music. That's my time.
Yeah.
But I started listening to books at the gym to help my listening. So like I can listen better because I have to, more times than not, I'm on Audible. I'm like, reverse it.
You
30
listen to a
seconds,
lot of
30 seconds,
podcasts?
90 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But I started listening to books. I listen to podcasts, but I started listening to books because I need to understand more. Like podcast is more like conversational.
Right.
Where books, I need to like, I'm trying to pay attention to the book and to learn to push my body to multitask and to being able to do two things at once, if that makes sense.
Listen,
No, totally,
comprehend,
totally.
and
Yes.
be able. Yeah. So you can listen, but sometimes you're not really listening, so you can't comprehend what's being said. So that is a good strength training for your
she's
brain.
like, and the woman coach was like, that's how you in order to get better, you have to practice.
Yeah.
And being at the gym, that's practice. She's like, I listen to a book when I swim. I'm like, all right. So that's what I'm going to do to try. And it's been working weirdly.
Nice.
Like, so something so little can drastically change my life personally, you know? So I've been getting better with the work-life balance. Also with the kid, it's been helping, you know? I
How old's
think
your kid?
she's 11 months.
11
Oh,
months.
wow.
11
Congratulations.
months. So it's been so cool.
Congratulations.
It's been
It's
awesome.
fun.
It's been an
wicked
awesome
fun,
build.
dude.
She's like awesome.
Is she? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of children, I was thinking about this earlier when you were saying, now that you're at a different level as the CEO, you're trying to figure out, because you said, you know, when you have 20 employees, you guys can go out to dinner, you can celebrate and train like when you have a smaller group. But now that you have 99 employees, you're trying to figure out a different way. Your daughter's only 11 months old, so you don't quite grasp this concept yet, but when you're a parent, you can't be their best friend. And that's kind of the same thing with your business. Like, you could kind of be your best friend of all the people that were 20, a group of 20, but now that you have 100 people looking up to you and they're looking up to you like a father, you can't go out and party with them. You can't train them that way. So when you're trying to figure out, how do I still be that boss, but how do I, keep it separate, because I'm not their friend anymore, I'm their boss, and they're looking up to me. Just think of it like parenting. Like, you have to give them the tough love instead of the fun times.
I agree with you on that. You know, I think that I feel like if you reprimand's the wrong word, but like if you put your foot down, people respect you for it more. It's like your kids, like you said, like they're only gonna do things so much if mom gets mad, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're gonna know what triggers mom, and they're gonna respect you for it, and they're gonna know not to do it. So I think it's the same concept, you know?
Yeah, totally concept.
But 100%, that's a good point. Absolutely.
Couple more questions. What was the turning point when you started RCL where you were like, damn, this is happening. Like we're making moves.
So one thing I will say, I didn't turn a call down, and everybody got pissed. Like I was like, I don't care. We do service, we do plumbing, we do HVAC, we do wells, we do remodels. And my thought process was the remodel's going to fill our schedule. They're going to push revenue. And we're not going to make 40, 50% on it, but it's going to allow me to hire the people, get it going, and then eventually I'm going to switch to replacements only, service only. And that's exactly what I did. And that was a part from the beginning that never changed, actually. I have a few less people, but profits have increased.
Did you do a lot of the work yourself when you first started?
No, did not touch a tool once.
So how did your first really good guy, how'd you find him? Was it Instagram?
I brought people on that I was hiring part-time on the weekends.
That's yeah.
And then it kind of just turned into like, hey, like you want a job, like come over here. And that's how it started.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now.
You're probably at the point where it's like, hey, I need help on a weekend, one on this install, come over here.
Yep.
And I think that you're at the part of the business where like you have to go in there and be their friend. Like you're the cool guy. Like, hey, what's up, Larry? How you doing? How's everything going? What do you need? This stuff. Not that you won't do that in 10 years, but like you're more friendlier. But now I think I've swapped it to be like more business oriented. And that's been a change that I just had to like just realize that I had to make, because I needed to create that separation. Like now you answered a call on the start of this. Like at some point, you're gonna have to delegate that call to somebody else, or you're gonna go crazy. You can't answer all the call. You can't answer all the questions, right?
Yeah.
So when you have someone like, what's your partner's name? Mike.
Yeah.
Mike doing all the service calls. He right now doesn't need a lot of assistance because number one, he's an owner. Number two, you guys are on the same page. But when you bring an apprentice on or someone else on, they're going to be calling someone for answers.
Yeah.
Who are they going to be calling? They're going to be calling you because he's going to be busy, ain't going to answer the phone call.
That's what's happening.
It's going to be billing. Oh, like, what do I charge here? What do I charge here? Oh, this person wants this. I'm out of gas. I got a flat tire.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to be like, I'm all set. Like, you have to call Stephanie now. And now when Stephanie, then that's when they get a little resentment. It's like, oh, you're too good for me. So you're going to have that break point in the company.
What's next for Marc Mason? Do you have anything in the books? I mean, are you going to stick with EastSide and RCL? Do you have anything that you want to do in the future? What's next?
I want to I want to have more me time. You know, it's been nice sitting here and not being like, and this is happening more, luckily, but like to have like time to actually come to like a podcast like this and not feel like rushed. My whole life, I feel like, has been like, what's next? I was just telling Jenna this the other day. I was like, you know, because I made a commitment to myself. I said, you know what? Fridays, it's going to be a me day. You know, it's going to be like, I'm going to take Fridays. Not that I'm not going to answer phone calls or anything, but like, I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to be in the grind. I'm not going to book 19 appointments. I'm going to take time, slow it down. And what I do? I went to the gym and I went to Society Coffee. And you know, I was walking and I see my buddy. And he works for TMLP, and he's like changing a meter outside, right outside the coffee shop. I'm like, hey Justin, what's up, buddy? He's like, I'm like, you coming over here? He's like, oh no, I'm like, you want a coffee? He's like, yeah, I'll take one. And then he pulled in after I came out with the coffee, and I sat at his passenger window and had a conversation with him for 10 minutes, just like catching up as friends, right? But that like never happens with me. It hasn't happened with me for like 5 years, maybe longer. Like I can never just be. What's the word I'm looking for?
In the moment.
In the moment. Yeah, like I can just never be in the moment and enjoy it, present. And I'm like, I was telling Jenna last night or the night before, I'm like, it was so nice to like just like see what he was up to and listen and like, and I'm like smiling because I'm like genuinely like happy that I could do it. But that's
You're
what's
not
next.
a robot.
Yeah, I'm not a robot because I operate like one.
Yeah.
But that's what's next. I think I need to make sure that I get in a spot where like I'm working on me, and I'm getting some of the time back from myself, my daughter, my family, and my friends, and be able to step back a little bit so I can do networking stuff like this and not feel rushed and not feel like I'm missing something. And I'm sure I got like 10 of, we talked about earlier, 10 plus calls, but like, I don't even feel like I missed anything. Like everything's going to operate. Everything's good. We worked so hard to get to that point that, I think I need me time. So like, that's what's next to me. So I don't have a heart attack at 50.
Yes.
You know, I went to a private doctor today. Cause I'm into that. I'm private healthcare. I want private health. Like I want to know really what my blood looks like.
Yeah, dude,
and
this is such a big
this
difference.
Could be a whole other podcast for me and you. Cause I know you're into it.
Yes.
I know.
And like they're doing the genetic testing on me and all that good stuff. So that's what's kind of next. I think I'm pouring some time into me.
That'd be sick. That's awesome.
So, you know, I wish I could say it was something business related, but I think I'm focusing on getting the business to be efficient, drive profits with less people, and just work on me.
You did it right, man. You rightfully so, by the way. I think
man.
that's an amazing plan for you, and putting that time into yourself is the most rewarding thing that can happen, especially if the machine's running. Yeah. You know, if everything's running, if your life's on autopilot because you worked that hard to put it there, dude, that's you won, man. You beat the game.
Absolutely.
You know
and now you can
the game.
spend that time with your wife and daughter, which is
Exactly.
You're financially free. You have all your ducks in a row, and it can be quality time instead of like.
And listen, guys like us, the game's never over. It's never over. But there is times where we can put it on pause.
Yeah, 100%. You nailed it there. There'll be more, and there's always gonna be my mentor just said this. It's like there's always going to be problems, Mark. But the way she said it to me, and I think it just came off different because she was a woman. And I'm not trying to be sexist, but like the way she just gets through to me is a different avenue. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good perspective because this was through the union stuff. She's like, Mark, this is one of the biggest things you'll ever go through. Like you right after this union stuff, you're going to have this, you're going to have that. And I'm like, you're so right. But like, you know what? It brought down the levels of like, chaos with me so much that like nothing's a problem anymore. Yeah. It's like, okay, how do we fix it? Like,
dude, I'm super happy for you, by the way,
thanks, man.
for going through that.
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment, man.
I've been through a lot of hard shit in my life, my childhood, and that was the hardest thing I've ever been through.
Wow.
It's almost like I built a child. Like this is my baby. Like my blood, my sweat, tears, everything, every dollar. Like, you know, everything went into this thing, and I spend 12, 14, 16 hours a day on it. Think about that, and someone's going to rip it from you.
Right.
Just think about that. That is like the craziest thing. And
Someone you don't even know, like somebody that like thinks that they're entitled to have something that they didn't even do. Yeah. That's that just goes to show the kind of ways that things are bent these days. Like, I don't know, how can
the Trump analogy that you said earlier sounds perfect, because
it's exactly the same thing.
And they've tried to bring him down. They've given him all those extra fees. He's paying the fees, and they're still trying to lock him up. So
yeah,
it's a great
it's
analogy.
So right, and he's breaking history with it, and I think I broke history. I don't know if there's any company that went through it in 4 years. I mean, I started the company with $20,000. Haven't put $1 into it. And we went through that, so it was exciting. It was exciting for everybody else involved too, because like you've seen everybody go from like people were crying, like this is my home, this is like my family, like what's gonna happen. People were like, and I'm like,
you've done an incredible
crazy.
job building a family environment. I can tell just from the videos. You've done an incredible job building your social media. I'm super glad that we connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope we can do something in the future. I think we really will. I'm looking forward to that future relationship. Keep doing it, dude. I love watching your stuff.
That.
And that's it, man. This is an incredible podcast. I think we're going to have a part two.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think we should have a part two.
All right.
Marc Mason, thank you very much for coming on.
Buddy.
Thank you. Take care.